Om yo brahmanam vidadhati purvam yo vai vedanscha prahinoti tasme tam hadevamatma buddhi prakasham mumukshurvai sharanamaham prapadye. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Namo Brahmadibhyo Brahma Vidya Sampradaya Kartribhyo Vamshirshibhyo Mahatbhyo Namo Gurubhyaha Sarvopaplavarahitah Prajnanaganaha Pratyagartho Brahmaivahamasmi Brahmaivahamasmi. Vedanta Vibhasakaya Gurave Shantaya Sannyasine Nanavadi Nagendra Sanghapavaye Yogindra Vandyaya Cha Mohadvanta Divakaraya Bhagavat Pada Vidham Vibhrate Tasmai Bhashyakೃತೆ Namostu Satatam Purnaya Bodhatmane. So let's read the first two shlokas that we have already covered. Dhritarashtravacha Dharmakshetre Kurukshetre Samaveta Mamakaः Pandavaश्चैव Kimakurvat Sanjaya. Sanjaya Uvacha Drishva tu Pandavanekam Vyudham Duryodhanastada Acharya Mupasangamya Raja Vachanam Abravir Pashyaitam Panduputranam Acharya Mahatim Chamum Vyudham Drupada Putrena Tava Shishyena Dhimatam. So Duryodhana, besides being insecure about his position, whether the battle would be won by him or not, in spite of him having gathered an army which was outnumbering the Pandava army. So just having been equipped with forces and material for success does not ensure that there will be success at your end. Confidence is another thing. And a person who is righteous has an advantage. And that advantage is of having this confidence. Which is there in the Pandava camp. And this is what exactly is lacking in Duryodhana. Now, with that diffidence, when Duryodhana comes to the battlefield and he observes the Pandava army arranged in a particular formation, And that formation which was designed by Drupadaputra. Drupadaputra is Drishtadyumna. Drishtadyumna is the one who was born only so that he could become an instrument in killing Dronacharya. Because Drishtadyumna's father, the king called Drupada, who also is Draupadi's father, felt that he was humiliated by making him uh, by making him lose a battle, by defeating him at the hands of his a generation which was much younger than Drupada. And they were just young boys whom Drona had trained. So all the Pandavas, etc., they launched an attack on Drupada. And there is another, why did even Drona instigate that kind of a thing? There is a history to it. Drona was in his place justified in doing it. Now, if you go into Mahabharata, then, the story goes on and on and on and on. And the volume of Mahabharata is much more than Bhagavad Gita. That it is consisting of 100,000 verses, 1 lakh verses, whereas Bhagavad Gita is just 700 verses. Now, if one expects that the whole of Mahabharata needs to be brought in, then you can easily sit for another 6 years and listen to this. As it is, my pace of teaching is slow, and there we go. So what happens is, Drupada is humiliated. So Drupada performs one fire ritual, seeking a boon that the son who will be born to him will become the cause for Drona's death. Okay. And a son is born to him. Then the son, Drupada, sends to Drona himself. Drona, in spite of being aware that this is the boy who has been sought in boon as an instrument to eliminate me. Look at that large-heartedness, because that is the tradition. When a student comes and a teacher, it is a teacher, the student finds that the student is fit enough, the teacher should deliver the knowledge. A student should not be denied. That's the tradition of learning. So now, when Drupada sends his son, then Drona naturally agrees to teach him. I remember there is another incident from Ramayana, not exactly Valmiki Ramayana, some other Ramayana. It's a very interesting, just by, prasangikam, by the way, since it comes. So when Ravana was shot down by Rama in that battle, Ravana led on the battlefield waiting for his death. So in meantime, Sri Rama tells whom? Lakshmana, that Ravana is a great statesman. Everybody knows. Otherwise, how would he manage a kingdom like that? An army like that, if he was not a good statesman. So go to Ravana and ask him to teach you some principles of managing the state. Rajaniti. Go and ask him how. Lakshmana goes to Ravana and says, here I am, Lakshmana, Dasharatha's son and Rama's younger brother. I want to know a few things from you. Rama has sent me. So please tell me some principles of Rajaniti. Ravana, though he is also an enemy, but over there, he also follows the same principle. Somebody has come, he has to teach. He's also a Brahmin teaching. So now, when Ravana, in that state, when he is just waiting for death and the pain is intense, Ravana opens the eyes and says, "Go, tell Ram, I have refused to teach you." Lakshmana is kind of angry. Why did you even send me to him? This fellow, we know that how he was. He has abducted, he has done several atrocities on various people, men, women, from all the three worlds. What is there to learn from him? As it is, good riddance of the bad is taking place. So Rama says, no, he is a good statesman. Even if he is my enemy, he is a good statesman. And then this is why even Rama is called as Gunagrahi, the one who is able to fetch goodness even from his enemies. Rama asked Lakshmana, Ravana cannot deny. What did you do going over there? So Lakshmana says, I stood over there. Where did you stand? So, this man is lying on the ground dead, almost dead. So I went over there, stood next to his head from where I could talk. And, this fellow, even if his ears are blocked, he can hear it now. So I stood. He says, no, this is not how you talk to a teacher when you request for any form of knowledge. Go stand near his feet. Do abhivadanam. Huh? Greet him with salutations, namaskar, and request him. Lakshmana, because it is Rama's order now, he has to follow. He goes and does that. When Ravana says, then he says, yes, now I know you're Rama's brother, I will tell you. Now you have proven that you are Rama's brother. Rama knows what is the niti, what is the right way to approach. Like that, this Drishtadyumna had come to Drona. Drona teaches him, and now, having learned the art of warfare, well trained in weaponry, who? Drishtadyumna is the commander of Pandava forces today. And therefore, on that decisive occasion, Drishtadyumna has made an arrangement of the army, the Pandava army, which petrifies Duryodhana. So now, in order to hide his own fear, he does something. But whatever you may do, that fear, the insecurity will somehow show through the cracks. And so Duryodhana goes to his teacher. I mean, the teacher is common for both Pandavas as well as Kauravas, is Drona. He approaches his Acharya and he says, Acharya, Pashyaetam, look at this army. Panduputranam Mahatim Chamum. Chamu is what? Feminine gender, masculine gender. Imam Chamum. Imam Chamum. Then, why worry about Chamum when Imam is there? So it is Strilinga. Imam Chamum Pashya. Look at this army. Sena. Whose army? Panduputranam, of the Panduputras, of Pandavas. Look at this army. What is there? Vyudha, this arrangement, this formation of the army is made by whom? Tavashishyena. Has been done by your own disciple, Dhimata, this intelligent man that you have trained. Tavashishyena. And on top of it, to rub the salt on the wound, this fellow, does not forget to remind, who is he? Drupada Putrena. This is Drupada is your enemy, sworn enemy, and this Drupada has had this boy born to him in as a boon to kill Drona. You knew this and you have done it. Now stand. So in a way, he goes to the teacher so that the fear in his heart can be suppressed, subdued. But instead of that, when he speaks, he delivers exactly. Now with that, he wants that fear to be transferred, kind of contagious, infected. This is what exactly happens with all of us. We will be able to give to the world only that what we have, no matter how much we pretend. If I pretend that I have knowledge, but there is no, that pretense is not going to work. What you will be delivering is only what you have. You cannot give what you don't have. घट है तो घट दोगे, घटा भाव है तो कैसे घट दोगे, है ना? So how will you? He has presently, he wants to show that how confident and valorous he is. Arjuna also, now he is struck with fear, and his fear is born out of a different thing, out of karuna, out of compassion. But over there, Arjuna does not do all these things. He says, Shri Krishna, you are my teacher now. I have this problem. Please help me overcome it. Duryodhana does this. So now there is a contrast which is painted over here. So you see, why would Shri Krishna talk to somebody like Arjuna and not to anybody of them? Though there are great people present in that historical time, in that time frame, not only on the battlefield. If you know, Shri Krishna has only 2 disciples in his whole life, though you may call him Jagat Guru. He was not on a spree of making disciples. Chalo aao, hum karte jao. No. No, you're making a spelling mistake. Not Sudama. Uddhava. So somebody said Sudama, so it is a spelling mistake. Not wrong. So now this is how Duryodhana comes. Then he realizes, what did I do to the teacher? I should have touched his feet, sought his blessing, or at least spoken words of inspiration and encouragement. Over there, I have gone and I have thrown cold water on people who are important in fighting this battle to the Kaurava army. Drona is one of them. After Bhishma, it is Drona, on whose shoulder they are keeping the rifles. So this fellow, what did I do? He realizes then, but that will come. Then he goes about talking to his teacher, Pashya, Acharya Pashya, look at it all. And then he cannot hide what he has, the insecurity that he has now. And he goes about enumerating names of various commanders from the Pandava camp. I think to number them, he has counted almost 17 or something like that. And then he realizes, what did I do? I have been praising the Pandava army. I should be talking about my army. to infuse, confidence. Okay, now I will tell you about our army also. He says, this is fourth verse. Atra Shura Maheshwasa Bhimarjuna Samayudhi Yuyudhano Viratascha Drupadascha Maharatha Krishnaketuschekitanaha Kashirajascha Viryavan
Kashirajascha Viryavan
Kuntibhojascha. What is happening? Huh? Okay. Shaivyascha Narapungavaha Yudha Manyuscha Vikrantaha Uttamaujascha Viryavan Saubhadro Draupadeyascha Sarva eva Maharathaha Drishtaketuschekha Atra Shura. Atra means here. Here means where? Huh? No, in the Pandava army. Atra Shura. Over here it goes with reference to context. So Atra Shura. There are great, valorous, courageous people. Shura. He also admits that they are all Shura. They are not, what do they call? What is the opposite of Shura? Brave and opposite of brave?
Weak. Weak. Tired.
There are, see, several situations. Brave people, Shuraha, Maheshwasa, and Maheshwasa is a Bahubli. So Maha Ishu Asa, with great bows. Ishwasa means the asanam of the Ishu. Ishu is arrow, where the arrow sits. Where does the arrow sit? On the string of the bow. So the bow is the asanam for the arrow. And Maha Ishwasa, it is the great bows. So these are the people who are wielding great bows. Maheshwasa. And how are these people? They are Bhima Arjuna Samayuti. They are equal to Arjuna and Bhima in the battle. Okay? So their power, their strength, their skills, how are they? They are equal to Arjuna and Bhima. So they are formidable. Okay? They are difficult to subdue. Such people are there. Then he goes about naming them. Yuyudhana. Yuyudhana is Satyaki. He was Shri Krishna's charioteer. Because Shri Krishna, though he is a charioteer in this present context, he is the king of Dwaraka. So over there, not actually that he really took up the kingship of Dwaraka. He gave it to Shurasena. But Shri Krishna has his charioteer named Satyaki, and this Satyaki, he has great devotion for Shri Krishna. Though Shri Krishna had sent all of his army on the Kaurava side to fight, because that was the choice. Narayani Sena has gone to the Kauravas. But Satyaki said that I will not go, I will follow where you are and join the Pandava forces. So Satyaki only comes over here. Yuyudhanaha, Virataha, and Virat is another king. Drupadaha. Now you have heard about Drupada Putra. Drupada Putra means the son of Drupada, who is the commander of the Pandava army now. His father is Drupada. So Drupada is also standing in the Pandava army. And they are not ordinary people. There is a lot of history behind each one of them. Maharatha, this Drupada, etc. They are all Maharatha. Drishtaketu, another king. His name is Drishtaketu. Then Chekitan is another one. Kashiraj, the king of Kashi. Kashirajashcha, Viryavan, the one who is valorous. Okay? Viryavan. Puruchit Kunti Bhojashcha. So another king, his name is Puruchit. Then Kunti Bhoja, Arjuna's grandfather. Kunti Bhoja, Kunti's father, but Kunti was adopted by Kunti Bhoja. So Kunti Bhoja, so his grandfather has come over there with his army, joined the Pandavas, and that old man is also standing. But just don't consider that he would require some, water-based compound in between. The old man is, strong enough to put down thousands at a time. So, and he can combat the army of 10,000 people single-handedly just with his bow, and that's why such people were called as Maharatha. So this is what he has. So here is Kunti Bhojaha, Shaivya, and Narapungavaha. Pungavaha means the like an ox, or not ox, what do they call it? Like a bull amongst men. So a bull, if left in the cattle, because of his sheer size, which is so intimidating, is easily noticeable. So stands out of the crowd. Like that, these are the people who cannot be unnoticed even by history. Okay, so such Narapungavaha, Yudhamanyushcha Vikrantaha, Uttamaujashcha Viryavan, Saubhadraha. Who is Saubhadra? Son of Subhadra, Abhimanyu, Arjuna's son, who was so young, just recently married to Uttara. He steps in and says, I will also fight. And though he is young, don't ever underestimate him, that he is some sort of an apprentice or anything. How is he? Maharatha. And even the sons of Draupadi, they are all Maharatha. And Duryodhana admits it in his own words. Now he feels that I have praised the Pandava army by calling their names, saying that they are brave, they are great, they are strong, valorous. So they are not going to retreat from the battle just like that. They cannot be chased out. They are good enough. Then he says that, what did I do? I should have been talking about my army, and somehow, in order to infuse more enthusiasm on my side, I should have said, what are these small little fries? You people can just go and, listen. Instead, I had done but that is what so this is what even Sigmund Freud said. Whatever you say is slip of a tongue, is actually not a slip of a tongue. It's though not intended, but this is what is there in your mind, in the heart, and it spills out. And he has spilled it out. The fear is evident over there. Furthermore, asmakam tu vishishtaye tan nibodhat vishottama Vichottama Nayaka mama sainyasya Samshyartham tan bravimite. Samshyartham tan bravimite. Asmakam tu vishishtaya. Even our asmakam, even our soldiers and commanders over here are vishishta. Huh? They are also endowed with certain skills and visheshanas. That's why they are vishishta. So they also have certain specialities. They are also, what do they call? They can be, they will stand apart, distinguished. Yes. Vishishtaha means distinguished. Like, you stand over there and then say, Hamare Vishishtatithi, means distinguished guest. Like Asmakam tu Vishishtaya. This even the commanders of my army, our army, are distinguished. Tan Nibodha Dvijottama, O greatest amongst the twice born, amongst the Brahmins, learned people. I will tell them to you. Why are you telling me? So that you know? Na tan nibodh. Nayakaha mama sainyasya, and I shall name them all. Samshyartham tan bravimite, for you to know. Tan bravimi. Now over here, intentionally or unintentionally, Duryodhana is going on causing more damage. More he speaks, more damage. In any other context, if he would have had told his teacher that you are best amongst the learned Brahmins, twice born, it could have had been very, what do they call, a praise. But on the battlefield, you tell that you are best amongst the Brahmins, which means not on the battle is not meant for these people who are going to be seated in a class and teaching and the priests. Over here, you require men who are trained, or what do they call, of the warrior class. You basically, all said and done, you still are a Brahmin, and so best amongst Brahmin in this context would mean what? You are good there, not here. So it goes not as a taunt or anything, but it actually goes to damage Duryodhana. Now, Drona is a very mature, stable person. So Drona is giving him total discount. Though Drona gets hurt because of Duryodhana saying this, but this is not a place where prestige issues can be raised. So Duryodhana can do that, but Drona is not going to do. So now Duryodhana says, what did I do? What did I say? So he tries to somehow, control the damage. So amongst the people who are great in my army, distinguished in my army, then he says, I must name my teacher first. Sir, yourself. And that is what he does. Bhavan Bhishmashcha Karanashcha Kripascha Samitinjayaha Ashwathama Vikaranashcha Saumadattir Jayadrathaha. What is there in your part? Tathaivacha. Never mind. There is a little part here. And this is also a valid one. Bhavan Bhishmashcha Karanashcha. Sir, yourself. Okay. Now having placed him even before Bhishma. So he said, yourself. Then Bhishma, Karna. Actually, Karna is not present over here, but his love for Karna makes him keep Karna over there immediately after Bhishma. Because Bhishma had put a condition. He said, I will not fight the war if Karna is going to be there. Then this Karna also feels offended because of Bhishma. He says, I will also not come on the battlefield as long as this old man is there. So the day the Bhishma falls, Karna comes. He says, I will now fight. Because Karna has, it is known that Karna has only one mission of his life, and that is to fight Arjuna and to eliminate Arjuna. Karna is born, he feels that this is his mission of life. Bhavan Bhishmascha Karnascha Kripascha Samitinchayaha. Kripa is Drona's brother-in-law and also an assistant teacher for all the princes over there. Samitinjayaha means, this is an adjective to Kripa. Samitinjaya. Samiti is battle, combat. Jaya, the one who comes out victorious, wins in the battle, is Samitinjaya. Ashwathama is Drona's son. So now Vikaranaha, Saumadarti, Jayadrathaha. These are the various people in the Kaurava. Now look at that. Only one verse he has used to name the people from Kaurava camp, whereas there were 3 verses naming the people from Pandava army. Anybody who could be now equal to the Pandavas. No, as many as he found, he named them. Though the army is much bigger in size, but in there he does not find anybody or many people who could be equivalent to the Pandava commanders. But nevertheless, he says, Anye cha bahava shuraha Madarthe tyakta jivitaha Nana shastra praharanaha Sarve yuddha visharadaha Anye cha bahava shuraha. Rest of the people are also there are many brave people in our army too. Anye cha, rest of them are also brave. Anye cha bahava shuraha. And for him, what is the meaning of shuraha? Madarthe tyakta jivitaha. They have given up their life for me, for my sake. Now, standing on the battlefield does not mean that who are ready. It is as good as gone. Head is in the tiger's mouth. When will it snap? You never know. It is as good as gone. Now, this person, in the tiger's mouth, he is not feeling, oh, how nice. Gone. There is nothing like, still alive. Tyakta jivitaha. Madhusudana Saraswati is going to say, Tyakta jivita means who have given up the jivitasha. So those who have even given up the hope that they will come back home alive to see their wife and children. And why, though knowing that this war may bring them death, their wives will be widowed and children will be orphaned. Why have they come? Madartha tyakta jivita. Madarthe, for me. And then he feels that pride that people have come and they are ready to give up their life for my sake. So he feels his ego being worshipped over here with this. Against this, when you go further and see what Arjuna says that these are the people who have come to give their lives up for me. And for him, it is a pain. For Duryodhana, it is a matter of pride. For Arjuna, it is a matter of dukkha, sadness. They trust me, they love me. Why should I want them to die? Duryodhana says, since they trust me and love me, they should die for me. There, this is the difference. Nana Shastra Praharanaha. And how are they? They are equipped with very many weapons. Nana Shastra Praharanaha, raising their weapons. Sarve Yuddha Visharadaha, and all of them are experts in what? They have their expertise, acumen, where in war, warfare. Yuddha Visharadaha, Panditaha iti. Then furthermore, Aparyaptam tadasmakam Balam Bhishma Virakshitam Paryaptam Tvidametesham Balam Bhima Virakshitam. Now, this verse is very interesting. It is interesting because it can be understood favoring Duryodhana as well as displaying Duryodhana's evidence. Okay. Now, please don't think that he is deficient means that like us, that how we are deficient, and not. Duryodhana is even, he has, the ego is much bigger. Aparyaptam tadasmakam. Asmakam balam aparyaptam is not enough. Our strength, our army is not enough, which is protected by Bhishma, because Bhishma is the commander. To look after the army is the job of the commander, chief. This balam is not enough. Now, this can be understood means that it is not enough. We are somewhere falling in short. It can be also understood as that this is not enough for Pandavas. Not enough for Pandavas. Paryaptam tvida tu idam etesham balam tesham balam katamasti paryaptam is good enough. We can easily get over them. So, looking at the number of people that have been gathered in both the camps, 11 Akshavhini Sena belongs to Kauravas, and 7 Akshavhini Sena belongs to the Pandavas. So, Pandava army is enough for us, we can easily consume them all. But for them to fight our army is not enough. This is one thing. It also would mean that it is not enough. Our army is not adequate, not sufficient. Theirs is sufficient, ours is, so it can be understood from both the ways. Now, this cannot be called a slip of tongue. I'm sorry, sir, this is not what I meant. Generally, when we speak, we have to just keep on rectifying ourselves again and again. Oh, But I didn't mean that, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, I didn't mean it. Hey, you didn't mean it, then how did you say that? Asked Sigmund Freud, and he said that no, you didn't intentionally say that, but this is what you actually had in your mind to say. So you said it. You have already said it. This is what he has already said, that our army is not sufficient, na paryaptam iti. There is a long discussion over here on this verse in Sri Madhusudan commentary. Here we go. Furthermore, Ayaneshu cha sarveshu yatha bhagamavasthitaha bhishmamevabhirakshantu bhavantah sarva eva hi ayaneshu cha sarveshu. All of you, as arranged in various places in the army, in various positions. Places means positions. So, various people were given charges of various positions in the army. It can be actually the physical positions. Somebody standing in the east, west, north, south, here and there, in what way he should be facing it. So various things. Then which part of the enemy's camp should this one attack? This battalion should do this. So these are the positions. These positions then are meant by the word ayana over here. So ayaneshu cha sarveshu, all of you in those very positions, yatha bhagam avasthitaha, as it has been pre-decided, bhagam, as you have been sanctioned those positions. Bhishmameva virakshantu, what all of you should do is protect Bhishma. So it is Bhishma's job to protect the army, and it is the army's job now to protect their chief commander, Bhishma. Bhishmameva virakshantu bhavantah sarva eva hi. All of you should do that. Now, one can understand that him giving the instructions that please protect Bhishma by all means, it can be understood as a simple thing. But it also would take a message that Bhishma needs our protection. Okay? Bhishma needs our protection. He is not good enough to protect himself. And if he is not, how would he even look after protecting our army?
बाहर का पर्दा खोल दे बल्कि
Himself.
ये बंद कर
So now when Bhishma overheard the nonsense that Duryodhana was bringing, blabbering, bringing out, he said that this fellow needs to be controlled somewhere. He should not be allowed to talk more now. What does Bhishma do over here? He is Tasya Sanjanayan Harsham Guru Vriddha Pitamaha Simhanadam Vinadyochaihi Shankha Bhavan. Tasya Sanjanayan Harsham. Now, bringing happiness, joy to Duryodhana, excitement to Duryodhana. Tasya Sanjanayan Harsham. What? Kuru Vriddha Pitamaha. Now, the grandsire of the Kuru family, Bhishma, in order to elevate Duryodhana, who was sinking inside, he then roared. Actually, it can be he roared, Simhanadam, or it can be when he blew the conch. His blowing of that conch was like the roar of a lion. Simhanadam vinadyochaihi, Shankam Tadmau Pratapavan. It can be two actions. One is he himself roared loudly on the battlefield, and then he blew the conch, which was also loud. So in a way suggesting Duryodhana that the battle has been announced. And another thing to be noticed over here is that even on the battlefield, the battle is announced by the Kauravas first. It is the Pandavas who are offended, and so they should launch the battle. But instead of that, the offender himself is now announcing the battle. And that also Pitamaha Bhishma had to do that because Duryodhana was talking something that can affect adversely, and therefore Pitamaha, in order to lift his spirit, roared and blew the conch. After he blew the conches of all the commanders and people who were supposed to, because that is the way the army would give signals, the way how the conch is blown. Tata Shankascha Bhedyascha. Sorry. Tata Shankascha Bhedyascha. Panavanaka Gomukha. Sahasaivabhyahanyanta. Sa Shabdastu Mulo Bhavat. No sooner Bhishma blew his conch, the conches of all the other people also filled, the sound filled the air, space. Tata Shankashcha, Bherya, Bheri, Utari. What is it called? The trumpets. Bheryashcha, Panava, Anaka, and Gomukha. These are the kettle drums and battle drums. Different ones, different, So all the battle music rented the skies. Sahasa eva up. Sahasa, immediately, without any delay. Sahasa, achanak. Eva. Sa shabdas tumulo bhavat. And that sound was, what do they call? What is that word in English? Tumultuous? Okay, whatever. Tumulo bhavat. Bhayankar. It filled the space. And then, now as the battle drums of the Kaurava army are being beaten, the trumpets are blown, the conches are blown, all the men who are standing over there, they are also giving battle cries. Bloodthirsty. The horses, the elephants, Suddenly they are also filling their, that space with their sounds. Now comes Shri Krishna and Arjuna on the battlefield. Tata, this is the entry. Okay, our hero comes over here. Tata Shvetair Hayayir Yukte Mahati Syandane Sthito Madhava Pandavaschaiva Divyau Shankau Pradatmatuhu Tata Shvetaihi Hayaihi Yukte. Now Arjuna arrives then on the battlefield. Arjuna and Shri Krishna arrive, Sthitau, both of them on the battlefield in the chariot. And how is this chariot? Mahati Syandane Sthitau. It is the Syandana is Mahat, in a great, because this is the chariot which was gifted to Arjuna to fight the war by Agni, by the fire god, or Indra. Indra had given this to Arjuna, not for Agni. Indra had given it to Arjuna. Syandane Sthitau. So in this chariot, Madhava means Shri Krishna and Arjuna are seated, and they arrive yoked by white horses. This chariot is yoked to the white horses. Shvetaihi hayaihi yukte mahati syandane sthitau. Pandavaha Madhavaha Madhava is one of the epithets of Shri Krishna. So Madhavaha Pandavaha Jaiva Divyau Shankau Pradadmatuhu, and they also live their divine conscious. What happens? What is this verse? Let us see a little more when we meet next. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnaha Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Bhadarayana Sutrabhash Vande Bhagavanto Punah Punah Ishvaro Gururatmiti Murti Veda Vibhagine Vyoma Dehaya Dakshina Namaha. Thank you all.